Heartwarming journey, Heiress turns pain into power. Discover her life-changing comeback today. Vivian Harper stood at the edge of her old world, a life filled with silk gowns, sparkling galas, and the kind of laughter that echoed through ivory halls. But now? The halls felt empty, draped in silence, save for the echo of her father's sudden passing. The charcoal-gray skies mirrored her sorrow as she stepped off the car that brought her to Maplewood, the rural town that was supposed to feel like home but now felt like a harsh prison. She could feel the stares, the judgment, whispers floated. Just another spoiled heiress, they said, their eyes sharp as she walked past. As tears threatened to spill, she clenched her fists. Vivian Harper was used to privilege, but now she stood before a granite reality, stripped of position and fortune, a young girl lost amid rolling farmlands. How could she be forgotten so easily, reduced to the emptiness of her late father's estate? Days stretched into weeks, but the hardest day of all was when her mother, Ellen, decided to rally the townsfolk. Vivian watched, a bystander to her mother's resilience as she organized bake sales, fundraisers, and community events. Ellen carried on, shoulders squared, embodying the strength for which they both yearned. As she handed a warm apple pie to a neighbor, Vivian felt an unfamiliar warmth blossom in her chest. The love and support surrounding her mother shone brighter than the chandeliers of their past. "Viv, you could help," her mother urged one afternoon, hands dusted in flour. But Vivian hesitated. How was she to belong in a world she had once misunderstood? A soft yet strong voice broke through her thoughts. Mr. Johnson, a local veteran, shuffled a step closer, his sun-kissed skin carrying grooves of experience. "Don't shy away, child. Go out there. Show them who you really are," he advised, his gaze piercing and wise. In those words, Vivian felt a flicker of resolve ignite within her. Perhaps this was her chance to be more than just a name on a property deed. In time, she decided to resurrect the family bookstore, a quaint sanctuary once beloved by the townspeople. She envisioned a space that cracked open stories and stitched together connections that her life of opulence had often overshadowed. Excitement bubbled within her. This project could breathe life into Maplewood and herself, but not without challenges. Just as her dreams took form, trouble stirred beneath the surface. A rival seller, Melinda, sneered at her ambition, whispering falsehoods, trying to turn the town against Vivian. It was a sickening game, one that made her stomach churn. Did she have the fight in her to rise above the dirt thrown her way? As the sun dipped low over the horizon, she stood before the increasingly curious townsfolk. Would she lean into her father's values of honesty or succumb to a darker path that silenced her? Heart racing, the weight of expectation bore down, and she realized this wasn't just about her bookstore. It was about her place within the community and the person she wanted to become. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the murmurs began to crescendo, hearts raced around her. She'd have to make a choice, one that could define her legacy and reshape Maplewood itself. What path would she choose, and how would it affect the fabric of a town that had just begun to stir with hope? The choice weighed heavy, but one thing was clear: Vivian was no longer just an heiress, she was poised to spark change. The weight of silence settled around Vivian like an invisible cloak, heavy and suffocating. She looked at the familiar faces of the townsfolk, feeling their curiosity mixed with skepticism. The glint of hope in their eyes was undeniable, yet their uncertain whispers made her heart flutter with unease. "Look at her," Melinda's voice cut through the noise, sharp as glass. "Does she really think she can save the town with a few books and a pretty smile?" Every word landed like a stone, sending ripples of doubt through Vivian's mind. Did Melinda speak for the whole town? Her fear twisted in her stomach, but that familiar flicker of resolve ignited again. This was her moment. Enough! She shouted unexpectedly, her voice rising to meet the uncertainty. The murmurs died down, and the stunned faces turned her way. I know I'm just a girl who inherited a bookstore, she continued, trying to find strength in her words. But I believe stories can change lives. Don't we all crave connection? Community? You once loved this place, so why not give it a chance again? A stirring rippled through the crowd, some nodded, while others exchanged cautious glances. Vivian took a step closer, her pulse quickening with every heartbeat. Let us rebuild together. We can turn this store into a hub for everyone. We can host book readings, community meetings, and even open mic nights. Imagine gathering here and sharing our lives, our stories together, she urged, her voice filled with raw emotion. Ellen watched proudly from the side, warmth radiating from her. As her daughter spoke, Ellen noticed the transformation. This was no longer the shy, scared girl who cringed at the judgment. This was a young woman finding her voice, passionate and fierce. Just then, an older gentleman from the crowd raised his hand. But what about your father? He built this place. How can we trust that you will honor that legacy? Vivian's heart sank, but she steadied herself. My father taught me the importance of community, of honesty. I will honor his legacy by being part of this town, not standing above it. I promise to respect the roots of this bookstore while planting new seeds of hope and vision. The air crackled with anticipation. In that moment, it felt like the clouds above were parting a little, the tension shifting. And then it happened. A small voice broke through the crowd. I'd come for story time. I loved that. It was a little girl, biting her lip and looking up at Vivian with wide, trusting eyes. A few others chimed in, recalling cherished memories of time spent within those walls. With every I remember and I'd love that, Vivian sensed the mood lifting. Could it be? Could this town really shift together? Would they embrace her and the past? Rejuvenated, she glanced at her mother and saw a hint of belief shining back at her. I want to hear your stories, your lives, she said, her voice trembling with emotion. Will you help me? Let us make Maplewood thriving again. Loud claps began to ensue, filling the space with warmth and hope. Yet, as the volume rose, so did the feeling of unease. Melinda's glare settled on Vivian, simmering with resentment. It was far from over. As the excitement enveloped her, Vivian knew deep down that more hurdles awaited her. This was only the beginning of her fight for acceptance and respect in a town where change often came slow. Could she weather the storm ahead? With resolve setting in, Vivian took a deep breath, staring once more into the sea of changing faces. But was the price of transformation worth the storm that lay ahead? As the first echoes of applause rose, a familiar shiver ran down her spine. She didn't just want to change Maplewood, she wanted to change herself. And there it was, lurking around the corner, a new fear. If they turned on her, would she have the strength to hold on, or would she crumble beneath their weight? Would the acceptance she sought become her downfall? The future was unwritten, and with every step she took into a new tomorrow, Vivian felt a mixture of hope and trepidation surge within her. In the growing embrace of her community, the real test awaited just outside those bookstore doors. What challenges would she soon face, and would they bring her closer to the person she wanted to become? Vivian's heart raced as the applause faded, replaced by a soft murmur of hopeful chatter among the crowd. Each face told a story, some wore smiles while others held doubt. Melinda's glare threatened to pierce through, but Vivian didn't want to retreat. It was time to move forward. Okay, she said, taking a breath to steady herself. Let us start with what you all loved about this place. Share your favorite memories with me. She stepped closer to the front, gesturing for anyone willing to speak. An elderly woman with silver hair rose, her voice shaking but resolute. I remember the summer book fairs. We'd gather under that old oak tree. Children laughing, it brought the town together. A wave of nostalgia washed over the crowd. A man with a scruffy beard chimed in, and the poetry nights. My wife and I used to sit by the fireplace and listen to the open mic. We even met here. Laughter mixed with a few sniffles, these shared histories ignited a warmth that transcended time. Vivian felt her resolve strengthening. With every story shared, she saw the memories building a bridge between her father's legacy and her vision for the future. The bookstore wasn't just a building, it was a treasure trove of connections, love, and laughter. As the crowd grew bolder, Vivian continued, imagine if we hosted those events again. Let us strive to create more spaces for connection. Her voice vibrated with excitement. We can turn this place into a haven for all ages, a sanctuary for creativity and community. Applause erupted again, but a part of her still worried about how far that acceptance would stretch. Would the community truly take her in, or would doubts resurface when the stakes were high? Vivian, said a familiar voice through the chatter. It was Ellen, pride shining in her eyes. You're making them remember. But suddenly, Melinda stepped forward, her entrance a stark counterpoint to the growing optimism. What if it doesn't work? What if you fail? Maplewood can't afford another empty promise. Her voice dripped with disdain. Vivian's stomach twisted. They had all been torn apart by this town's struggles, and here stood Melinda, the personification of the fear that threatened to derail her dreams. Melinda, Vivian responded, her voice growing firmer. I can't promise perfection, but I can promise effort. We'll grow together, learn together. A glimmer of surprise flashed across Melinda's face, but her expression quickly hardened. Effort doesn't pay the bills, Vivian. People are counting on real change, not just good intentions. Silence enveloped the room again. It felt heavier now, the weight of expectancy tugging at Vivian's chest. She had opened her heart, but here came the challenge to prove herself not just to them, but to herself as well. Then let us take it one step at a time, she said, her voice softer yet resolute. Let us start a community committee dedicated to revitalizing this bookstore and the town itself. Together, we'll define what real change looks like. A murmur of agreement flowed through the crowd, some exchanging glances, their hearts slowly mending. Feeling the shift, Vivian glanced at her mother, the warmth of her encouragement radiating back. It was a reminder that she wasn't alone in this fight. Let us have our first meeting next Saturday. Bring your ideas, your creativity, your voices. She encouraged, her eyes sparkling with determination. As the meeting drew to an end, Vivian marveled at the spark she had ignited, but with Melinda still lurking like a storm cloud, she felt the conflict ahead thrumming under her skin, and deep within her heart, a new realization took root. This journey was about more than the bookstore. It was about setting fire to the fear that shackled her, about embracing her true self. But could she rise above the whispers of doubt, or would they engulf her once more? With that thought weighing heavily, she stepped back into the embrace of the townsfolk, wondering about the battle of acceptance still to come. The week passed in a blur of excitement and apprehension. Vivian immersed herself in organizing ideas for the community committee, her mind racing with possibilities. But as Saturday approached, the nervous energy inside her built like a storm preparing to unleash its fury. When the day finally arrived, the little bookstore buzzed with energy. Tables were pushed together, and chairs were pulled out, a mosaic of mismatched furniture gathered to foster collaboration. Vivian stepped to the front, her heart pounding. It felt like the moment was nearly at hand where dreams could either take flight or crash down. People filled the seats, their previous wariness replaced by an eagerness she hadn't expected. Ellen was there, her bright presence a comforting beacon. Beside her, a young girl with pigtails clutched a sketchbook to her chest, an anxious smile gracing her face. Others gathered in small groups, chatting animatedly. But among them, Melinda remained a shadow, watching with cold eyes that pierced through Vivian's growing confidence. Thank you all for coming. Vivian began, her voice steady though her hands trembled slightly. This is the start of something amazing. She paused, allowing herself to meet the gaze of her audience, the hopeful faces reminding her of the promises she made to herself, to her father, and to the community. Today, we'll brainstorm ideas that we can bring back to life. She gestured toward a whiteboard positioned behind her. What kinds of events would you like to see here again? What can we do to make this place a sanctuary once more? A chorus of voices erupted, each person passionate about their memories. One after another, ideas flowed: a children's reading hour, a book club that delved into local literature, even a monthly potluck. The energy in the room transformed, laughter spilling into the air as stories merged with new ideas. Vivian could feel their dreams intertwining with hers, a tapestry of hope stitching them together. Yet, there remained that nagging thought in the back of her mind, the reminder of Melinda's skepticism. What if this doesn't work? It whispered. Let us not forget the importance of sustainability. Melinda's voice cut through the excitement, her tone sharp like a blade. We need to think about funding, securing resources. Vivian inhaled deeply, recalling her promise to herself. You're right, Melinda. Planning is essential. How about we form a subcommittee focused on fundraising? The room buzzed with murmurs of agreement, people nodding in support. It was a show of unity, and Vivian felt a flicker of hope. Yes, they were not just dreaming, they were forming a plan. As the meeting progressed, visions blossomed, but so did the challenges. The questions flew as quickly as the ideas: would they have enough volunteers? How to bring back those who had drifted away? The weight of responsibility settled on Vivian's shoulders, but she held her ground, steadied by the determination glinting in the hopeful eyes around her. Hours later, the meeting wrapped up, and though she felt the urge to collapse from exhaustion, Vivian was alive with possibility. Her heart swelled with pride, even as the shadow of Melinda loomed over the corner of the room. Thank you for believing in this dream, she said to the gathered group, her voice filled with gratitude. And as they began to disperse, Vivian couldn't help but think of how far they had come in just a few hours. Her journey had officially begun, but just as uncertainty flickered back in, so did determination. Standing at the edge of the bookstore door, looking out at the fading light of dusk, she felt an undeniable shift within her, a spark ignited by all they had shared. But did she have the strength to hold on to it when faced with the inevitable storms ahead? The sun dipped below the horizon, washing the town in golden hues, and she made a silent vow to weather whatever darkness might try to creep back in. But as she closed the door behind her, the echo of Melinda's doubt remained, a reminder that the real challenge was only just beginning. What would it take to fully rally her community and silence the fears that threatened to undo her? Vivian woke up the next morning, the vibrant colors of the sunset still fresh in her mind, replacing the dark clouds of doubt with fingers of light. The small victory of the meeting lingered in the corners of her soul, but the reality of what lay ahead weighed heavily. Today, they would need more than just ideas, they needed action. She brewed a pot of coffee and stared out of her kitchen window, thoughts racing. How would they fund the projects? How could they make people believe in the bookstore again? She picked up her phone, scrolling through her contacts. Ellen would be the first call. Hey, Viv. How's everything? Ellen's voice rang bright on the other end, a familiar warmth wrapping around Vivian like a comforting blanket. We had a great meeting yesterday. But now, reality is making me nervous, Vivian admitted, pulling her hair back into a messy bun. We need to start reaching out for donations and support. Any ideas? I know a few local businesses that might be willing to help, Ellen suggested. Plus, my cousin runs an online charity event. We could team up. Excitement bubbled within Vivian. That sounds perfect. Let us meet later to brainstorm. As the day unfolded, Vivian felt the weight of responsibility shifting. She wasn't alone, the community was starting to rally. Together, they would confront Melinda's doubts. With newfound energy, she stepped into the bustling world outside, meeting Ellen at the corner coffee shop. The atmosphere was buzzing, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wrapped around them. Okay, what's the plan? Ellen asked, pulling out a notepad. Vivian laid out her thoughts, and ideas flowed like a lively stream. Maybe they could host a charity auction or a bake-off that invited the creative touch of the whole town. Each suggestion added a spark to their conversation. Laughter filled the air as they mapped out their thoughts. But then, the reminder of their biggest challenge slipped back into their dialogue. What if Melinda finds a way to undermine us? Vivian asked, her enthusiasm waning. She seems ready to pounce on any mistake. Ellen leaned in, her voice soft yet firm. Let us turn her concerns into motivation. Show her we're a force, not just a few dreamers. Vivian took a deep breath, feeling empowered by Ellen's confidence. You're right. If we can make this happen, we'll not only silence her doubts but inspire others. We're stronger together. The two women spent the next few hours building their vision, writing emails to local businesses, and drawing up plans for the events. As they strategized, Vivian couldn't shake the excitement building within her. Hope flickered like a candle in the shadows, illuminating the path ahead. Later that evening, Vivian found herself at the bookstore once again, glancing over the spines of books that had once been beloved. She felt a sense of belonging wash over her. The bookstore represented more than just nostalgia, it held dreams of possibility waiting to burst forth. Just then, she spotted Melinda entering, the customary steely expression firmly in place. Her heart quickened. Would Melinda engage in another confrontation? But instead of dismissing her, Vivian met her gaze. Melinda, we're working on some exciting plans to rejuvenate the bookstore, she said, her voice steady. We'd love your input. Melinda raised an eyebrow, clearly taken aback. Really? And what makes you think your little ideas will work? A challenge danced in the air around them, tension wrapping around them like a vine. Vivian took a deep breath, determination flooding her. Because this community deserves another chance, and I believe we can make it happen together. Melinda's eyes flickered, revealing a hint of surprise. Was that the faintest spark of intrigue in her expression? As she walked away, Vivian felt as though she had taken a vital first step in breaking through the barriers that divided them. A single moment could change everything. What would it take to win Melinda's trust and bring everyone, yes, even the most skeptical, together? The answer lingered in the air, filling the bookstore. With questions waiting to be answered. Vivian spent the night thinking about her conversation with Melinda. It swirled in her mind, like a song playing on repeat. The uncertainty in Melinda's eyes puzzled her. Was there a chance for collaboration? Or was it just a flicker of surprise that would vanish into doubt again? Breakfast was a blur of cereal and unanswered questions. She needed clarity before diving back into the hustle of fundraising. After a quick shower and a last-minute decision to wear her favorite blue dress, she took a deep breath and headed to the bookstore. Once inside, she noticed a group of kids gathering near the front of the store. They giggled and whispered, pointing at the display of colorful new arrivals. Vivian smiled, seeing children getting excited about books always lifted her spirit. She approached cautiously, not wanting to break their concentration. Hey there. What are you looking at? She asked, crouching down to their level. The tallest boy, with bright red sneakers, exclaimed, "Look! This book has dragons in it." His enthusiasm was contagious, igniting a warmth inside Vivian she hadn't expected. Dragons, huh? Sounds like an adventure waiting to happen. Which one do you think I should read first? She nudged, eager to engage, but the kids wasted no time swapping recommendations, their voices overlapping in joyous chatter. In that moment, Vivian realized how vital this little haven of imagination was for them. The bookstore wasn't just a business, it was a lifeline, a doorway to countless worlds. As they decided on ways to showcase dragon tales at the upcoming charity event, her phone buzzed. Ellen. They needed to touch base about logistics. Hey. Any news? She answered, her heart racing with excitement. We're on track. A few businesses have agreed to donate items for the auction. And I think we're getting local artists involved, too. Ellen's enthusiasm mirrored Vivian's. Great. Just what we need to build momentum. How do you feel about folding in a local reading hour at the event? It could draw the community out. Brilliant idea, Viv. We can set it up as the kickoff. Their conversation flowed into a vibrant planning session. As visions grew, so did the sense of hope between them. Yet, a shadow of Melinda's skepticism loomed in the back of Vivian's mind. When she hung up, a new determination swelled inside her. She decided to reach out to Melinda again. Maybe they could find common ground, a way to work together for the bookstore's benefit. Later that afternoon, Vivian texted Melinda, proposing a meeting. Waiting for a response was like watching paint dry, each slow passing minute cloaked in anticipation. Would Melinda be willing to listen this time? Just as doubt began to creep in, her phone chimed with a reply, "Fine. I'll meet you tomorrow at noon. Let us see what you've got." Vivian jumped out of her chair, a wave of adrenaline coursing through her. This could be the opportunity to bridge their differences. Her mind buzzed with the potential of what they could achieve together. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue across the city, she reflected on the journey ahead. Her heart hammered in her chest as thoughts of the next day swirled with hope and fear. What if this meeting could change everything? Would Melinda's walls come down? Would they work with each other towards a common goal? The uncertainty stirred excitement and trepidation, tangled together in a way only the prospect of empowerment could do. Facing Melinda might be the key to unlocking the future she envisioned for the bookstore. But Vivian couldn't shake the nerves. What if they still clashed? Her thoughts rode the edge of possibility, igniting a spark of determination. This was no longer just about the bookstore, it was about the heart of the community. Tomorrow would tell a new story, one she felt on the cusp of discovering. She closed her eyes, envisioning success and the courage she'd need to embrace it. Little did she know, the conversation would unveil secrets that would challenge everything she believed. The morning dawned with a soft glow, the light spilling through Vivian's window like a promise of new beginnings. She sprang out of bed, her heart pounding with anticipation. Today was the day. Today, she would meet with Melinda. Nerves danced in her stomach as she prepared herself, a mix of excitement and anxiety swirling within. Every brush of the hair, every button she fastened on her dress felt like a ritual, a way to arm herself for what lay ahead. She glanced in the mirror, searching for reassurance in her own reflection. "You can do this," she whispered. After what felt like an eternity, the clock signaled it was time. With a deep breath, she stepped out into the crisp morning air, her mind racing with potential scenarios. The bookstore was bustling, a world filled with possibilities. Yet, all her energy was directed towards the meeting. When she arrived at the cafe where they agreed to meet, she found a cozy corner table. The smell of fresh coffee mingled with the scent of pastries, creating an inviting atmosphere. Still, the butterflies in her stomach played a symphony of doubt. As she waited, she sipped her coffee, trying to calm herself. Suddenly, she spotted Melinda walking through the door. Vivian's heart dropped for a moment. Melinda carried herself with an air that mixed authority and reluctance, as if every step was a struggle against the very idea of the meeting. Vivian waved her over, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Hi, Melinda," she greeted, her voice steady even when she felt anything but. "Vivian," Melinda replied curtly, taking a seat across from her. The tension was palpable, the space between them filled with unspoken thoughts. "Thanks for coming," Vivian said, searching for common ground. "I believe we can really make a difference together." Melinda arched an eyebrow, skepticism written all over her face. "You know, it's not as simple as you think. The community has its reservations." Vivian felt her cheer begin to evaporate. "I understand. But what if we shifted the focus? We could create events people would look forward to, showcase local talent, involve the schools. But what if nobody comes? Melinda interrupted, her voice sharp. What if we end up worse off? The sting of Melinda's words hit hard, but Vivian pressed on. Or what if we succeed? We could provide resources to kids who need them. It's about more than just books, Melinda. It's about hope. For a moment, silence fell between them, thick and heavy, as Melinda's gaze shifted to the bustling crowd outside the cafe. Vivian held her breath, anxiously awaiting a crack in Melinda's stern demeanor. Hope, Melinda murmured. Hope is a fragile thing. Vivian caught the hint of vulnerability in those words. We have the chance to make it stronger. Together, we can change the story. Melinda looked up, her eyes searching Vivian's. And what if it fails? Vivian leaned in, her heart racing. Then we try again. But I believe this community needs something to rally around. We can be the spark. There was a flicker in Melinda's eyes, a glimmer of something more than doubt. Maybe it was curiosity or intrigue. Vivian could feel a shift in the conversation, a slight softening in Melinda's posture. But the battle wasn't over yet. Let us talk logistics, Melinda finally said. But it better be more than just dreams. Vivian let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. They were moving forward. Absolutely. Let us lay out a plan, she said, excitement bubbling up inside her. Just as they began to outline ideas, Vivian's phone rang loudly, interrupting their momentum. She glanced at the screen. It was Ellen. Sorry, Before she could finish, Melinda raised a hand. Take it, she said, the hint of a smirk playing at her lips. Maybe it's more good news? Vivian answered, the voice on the other end filled with urgency. Vivian. You need to know something important about the charity event. Heart racing anew, Vivian held her breath, sensing this might shift everything she hoped for. What is it? Someone wants a major role in promoting it, but it could complicate things. With Melinda. Vivian's stomach dropped. Would this be the obstacle that drove them apart before they even began? All right, I'll be there soon. She replied, feeling the weight of her decision like a stone in her pocket. As she hung up, she turned to Melinda, the flames of concern flickering in her chest. We might have an issue to face together. Melinda's brow furrowed slightly. What now? Vivian bit her lip, the uncertainty once more raising its head. Would they be able to face whatever was coming as a team? Would they stand together against the forces threatening to pull them apart? The stakes felt higher than ever. Vivian took a steadying breath, the warmth of the cafe suddenly feeling stifling. She could see the concern etched on Melinda's face, a mix of curiosity and apprehension. What would she say? How could she explain a potential conflict without losing the fragile progress they had just made? They want to involve someone big in the community. A local celebrity, Vivian managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. Someone who could boost attendance for the charity event. But she hesitated, weighing her words carefully. It could bring unwanted attention, make things complicated. Melinda's eyes narrowed. Who? Liam Hart, Vivian replied reluctantly. The name hung in the air, heavy and charged. Vivian watched as Melinda tensed. Liam was well loved in the community, a former athlete turned successful entrepreneur, known for his philanthropic efforts. But he was also someone who stirred mixed feelings, familiar and intimidating at once. Melinda's expression darkened. That could go one of two ways. He might bring people in, or he could overshadow the very purpose of what we're trying to build. Vivian nodded, understanding the weight of Melinda's words. She needed to tread carefully. I know. But if we play our cards right, we can steer the focus towards the community and the kids. We don't have to let his presence define the event. We can use it as an opportunity. Melinda leaned back, crossing her arms as she considered this. Vivian sensed the gears turning in her head. The prospect of partnering with Liam stirred a lot of emotions within her, a blend of hope and fear. "What's his angle?" Melinda asked, her tone scrutinizing. "Does he really care about this place, or is he just in it for the publicity?" Vivian swallowed hard. "I can't know for sure, but if he's committed, this could mean donations that we desperately need. We could reach the kids who've been overlooked for far too long." There was a moment of heavy silence, both women weighing the implications of diving deeper into this partnership. Melinda eventually relented, her expression softening just a fraction. "All right, let us see what he wants. But you have to be upfront with him. We're not just another charity event. This is about the community." "Absolutely," Vivian nodded, her pulse quickening with newfound determination. They were moving closer to their goal, and she could feel the energy shift in the air. Before they could discuss specifics, Vivian's phone buzzed again, cutting through the moment. Ignoring the pang of anxiety that surged through her as she glanced at the screen, she answered quickly. "Ellen?" "Vivian, we need to discuss this quickly. Liam wants to meet, but his people don't want anyone else involved initially. This could get sticky, fast." Vivian's breath quickened. Melinda's expression mirrored her discomfort. "Tell him we need transparency. We won't move forward unless he's willing to make this about the kids." "Got it," Ellen replied, her tone brisk and to the point. As she hung up, Vivian felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her. This was a defining moment. Would Liam respect their vision? Would he help or hinder their progress? Looking back at Melinda, who was now tapping her fingers contemplatively against the table, Vivian felt a surge of urgency. "We have to act fast if we're going to keep control of this." Melinda nodded, resolve settling in her posture. "Let us draft a list of what we'll address. We need to keep our priorities clear. If we can focus on what matters, we might turn this into something truly special." Vivian nodded, adrenaline surging through her veins. "Yes. Let us put together everything we want to show him." As they scribbled notes and discussed logistics, a sense of camaraderie began to blossom, weaving through the cracks of their earlier tension. But as they alighted on how best to present their plans, Vivian's mind drifted to the looming questions. Could they truly navigate the storm that was about to unfold? Before she could spiral into uncertainty, Melinda's phone rang, cutting through the rush of ideas. The strange urgency that passed over Melinda's face sent a chill rippling down Vivian's spine. "Who is it?" Vivian asked, her voice a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Melinda stared at the screen, hesitation flickering in her eyes. "I don't know." There was a long pause, amplified by the sounds of the cafe around them, as both women exchanged worried glances. Vivian swallowed hard, anticipation knotting in her stomach. What could it be? "Pick it up," she urged. But deep down, she wondered, what if this call changed everything again? Melinda took a deep breath, answering the call with an unsettling sense of foreboding, and Vivian couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to shift once more. Melinda's voice wavered slightly as she spoke into the phone, her expression shifting from curiosity to something more serious. "Hello?" Vivian watched intently, the clatter of forks and dishes around them fading into the background. It was as if the cafe had transformed into an echo chamber, only the weight of Melinda's conversation existed within its walls. Vivian's heart raced, aching to know what was being said on the other end. Melinda listened intently, her brows furrowing. "Yes, this is she. Oh, no, I see." The line went quiet for a moment, and Vivian leaned forward, desperate to catch any flicker of what was unfolding. Melinda's mouth tightened, her usually vibrant demeanor dimming. The urgency of the call seeped into the air, creating an almost tangible tension. "Yes, of course I understand. Thank you for letting me know," Melinda finally uttered, her voice firm despite the pathos underlying her words. As Melinda ended the call, she laid the phone on the table, her demeanor shifting again. Vivian could feel the gravity of whatever news had been delivered. "What happened?" she asked, almost breathless. Liam's charity event. His team is saying that there's been a conflict with the venue. It might not happen at all. Melinda's voice was hushed, but the impact was loud. Vivian could feel her stomach drop. What do you mean? Is it cancelled? Not exactly. They're trying to push for a different location, but it's last minute, and... Melinda rubbed her temple, clearly feeling the pressure. This could derail everything we've planned. Vivian's mind raced. The charity event was their best chance to help the kids. Can we meet with Liam's team? Maybe there's a way to salvage it, find a new venue that still aligns with our mission. Melinda nodded, but the uncertainty in her eyes mirrored Vivian's own fears. Right, but we need to act fast. This is not just about logistics, it's about finding a way to rally the support we need. As she spoke, Melinda's resolve seemed to crystallize. All those small steps they had taken together, from coffee meetings to strategic planning, were now at risk of crumbling. They had to remind themselves and others why they were doing this. It wasn't just for recognition. It was for the kids who depended on their support. Let us prepare an urgent proposal, Vivian suggested, her mind now racing with ideas. Images of the kids flashed through her thoughts, faces bright with promise and hope. If we can address their concerns directly, maybe we can convince them to not dismiss our ideas. Melinda perked up slightly, her spirit igniting. Yes. We can present the potential positives of showcasing true community involvement rather than just the celebrity angle. If we frame it properly, we can show them what's at stake for us all. With fresh energy, they set to work, quickly drafting bullet points, heartwarming anecdotes from the community, and a strategic outline of how they could overcome the hurdles facing them. With every word they typed, Vivian felt the weight of purpose wash over her. She wasn't just going through the motions, she was fighting for a cause that mattered deeply. Just then, Melinda's phone buzzed again, and this time her expression shifted from determination to apprehension. It's Ellen again. Answer her, Vivian urged, anxiety crawling over her skin. Each new piece of information felt like a ripple in the calm waters of their efforts, and Vivian couldn't stand the thought of watching it all fall apart. Melinda paused, chewing on her lip as she pressed the answer button. The tension was palpable, each moment stretching, filled with possibilities, both joy and despair. Could this call turn the tide in their favor, or would it bring another challenge to face? As Eldon's voice filled the air, both women leaned in, breaths held, unaware that the next few words would change everything again. Would they find a way through, or was this just another obstacle destined to shatter their dream? Ellen's voice crackled through the phone, urgent and clear. Vivian. You believe this? She paused, clearly catching her breath. Liam just called. He's willing to bring his event to the bookstore if we can work out the details quickly. Vivian's heart soared, but the joy was flickering like a candle in a storm. Really? He wants to do it here? Yes. But there's a catch. He has specific ideas about how he wants things to be. He wants a flashy opening, a big guest list, you know how it goes. But if we can show him that we can turn this into a community-focused event, a wave of hope washed over Vivian, mixing with a dose of reality. We'll need to keep the heart of our mission at the forefront. It's not about the celebrity. It's about the kids. Melinda's eyes met Vivian's, excitement glimmering beneath her usual restraint. We can use this. We can show them that a celebrity partnership can amplify our message rather than overshadow it. Exactly. Vivian said, her mind racing with possibilities. Let us make it clear that his involvement should elevate the community, not take away from it. As they spoke, a sense of purpose flooded the air around them. They moved quickly, scribbling down plans, defining metrics of success that focused on community engagement rather than fame. The vision came alive in front of them, a grand event that would not just showcase Liam but also celebrate the creativity and resilience of their town. Suddenly, Melinda's brow furrowed again, a shadow crossing her face as a thought struck her. What about the skeptics? What if people don't want Liam there? What if his involvement stirs up the old doubts? Vivian took a deep breath, digesting the concern. That's why we need a strong narrative. We don't just sell the event, we sell the purpose behind it. We share testimonials from the community, stories of hope and change. Make this something they can't resist. The phone buzzed with Ellen again. They want an answer on the venue by the end of the day. Are we in? Vivian felt the gravity of the moment. Yes, they would take this chance. We're in. She exclaimed, her voice ringing with clarity. We'll make it a spectacle, a community gathering that showcases our collective strength and spirit. Perfect. Ellen rejoiced on the phone. Let me tell Liam's team, and I'll loop back with specifics. As she hung up, the energy in the cafe felt electric. Vivian and Melinda shared a lingering glance of understanding. What they had built together had the potential to bloom, that week transformed into a whirl of action. The bookstore was almost unrecognizable, filled with vibrant posters advertising storytelling workshops, community art showcases, and mini-concerts leading up to the big day. The townsfolk rallied together, their energy infectious. Neighbors brought in baked goods for sale, crafts for silent auctions, and stories to share. Slowly, the town was stitching itself back together, thread by thread, heart by heart. But Melinda's skepticism remained like a thin veil, always just a breath away. What if people just come for the celebrity? She would ask at their planning meetings, casting her doubts onto their momentum. We'll let them in on our true story. Our deep-rooted connections and shared laughter will speak louder than one person's fame, Vivian responded, injecting confidence where uncertainty lingered. The event day arrived, bursting with life. The bookstore overflowed with laughter and chatter, old friends embracing and newcomers mingling. Vivian stood beaming in the doorway, her heart swelling at the realization, this was their community, a canvas painted with hope. Just then, as if summoned by the vibrant atmosphere, Liam Hart arrived, a wave of excitement trailing behind him. He was just as they imagined, charismatic, genuine, ready to support their cause. Vivian, he greeted warmly, extending a hand. I trust you're ready to pull this off together? Yes. She exclaimed, determination gleaming in her eyes. Let us make this event unforgettable. With each moment, the walls of doubt melted away. Kids gathered for story time. Adults shared creativity at art stations, and the rich aroma of local pies filled the air. This was about them, their community together, redefining what Maplewood meant. As cheers erupted during the main event, Vivian felt a surge of emotion wash over her. She scanned the crowd and found Melinda standing at the edge, her face illuminated by the glow of recognition. It was in that moment that Melinda stepped forward, a reluctant smile breaking through her armor. This is what I was talking about. You've done it, Melinda said, her voice choked with unexpected emotion. Vivian's heart leaped. No, we've done it. Together. As applause resonated and laughter echoed, Vivian found her mother, Ellen, beckoning from the side. She enveloped her daughter in a hug, her eyes shimmering with tears. You've turned a difficult legacy into a vibrant celebration. I'm so proud of you, Viv. In that embrace, Vivian felt the weight of everything they had fought through: doubt, fear, and the lingering skepticism slowly lifting. She had transformed pain into power and helped her community thrive once more. And as the closing music played, the essence of togetherness swept through the crowded bookstore. Vivian knew this was just the beginning. Maplewood wasn't just her father's legacy, it was now a part of her own. As the crowd began to disperse, Vivian shared hugs and laughter, her eyes shimmering with hope. She was a storyteller now, an architect of change. No longer an heiress lost in privilege, she had found her voice, her purpose intertwined with those of her community. With the excitement still buzzing in the air, she turned to the welcoming warmth of her bookstore, ready for the many stories waiting to be written ahead. And now, dear friend, if this story touched your heart, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support by hitting that bell for all notifications, so you won't miss a single story. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others find this transformation. And don't forget to comment below your thoughts, feelings, and reactions to this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread hope together. Don't wait not even one more second to remind your community of the magic that can happen when we come together.